Previously on Forever Valley.
Banzu Pambo. That. Foja.
Brad's new life isn't so different from his old one, except now he can practice his music without worrying about money. Plus, there is always someone willing to appreciate his compositions. And Moira is grateful that there are more hands to help with the children at home. Time flies, Franco thinks as he takes his daughter Violet to blow out the candles on her birthday cake. Brad is worried that the same problem happened as at Willa's birthday party. What's going on? He's also concerned that his husband has their daughter so close to the fire without a second thought. Luckily, his brother-in-law took the situation seriously and began to put out the fire. The firefighters arrived on time, which was almost a miracle, given the long journey they had to make to Forever Valley. Together they were able to extinguish the fire, making a good team, even when Leon noticed the firefighter staring a little too much at his wife. Franco, for his part, knew the situation would be under control and wasn't too worried. Since it was already very late, the man put his daughter to bed and would think about celebrating her birthday again tomorrow. Moira exercises in the afternoon to maintain her figure after having 2 children, and she does it in a swimsuit because why not? She continues to search for information about her mysterious past, whether on the internet or in the books that Franco kindly leaves outside the library so that the townspeople can access information or entertainment. That night, the family celebrates 2 birthdays. First, Lara's because they didn't want to wake Violet, who was taking a nap. Childhood brought a good sense of humor and a future of great sociability. This time Violet's birthday went without a hitch. Both girls received new rooms appropriate to their ages. And they resemble their respective mothers, although Lara has inherited her grandmother Chara's color eyes. It's clear even at this young age that Lara enjoys connecting with people. Winter means she can't go out as much as she'd like to meet new Sims, but internet access solves that problem. Moira continues to tend the garden, which is the household's main source of income, though that's not her primary reason for doing so. She feels more connected to Chara this way, the only mother she's ever known. Besides, the plants still evoke a sense of connection to her past, even if she doesn't know why. Connections are important, Lara thinks, and what better way to make them than with the second family to move to the town. It's also good to have friends her own age. That night Miles also had his birthday, although his family preferred not to buy a cake and try their luck again. He looks like his mom but with his dad's eye color, inherited from his grandpa Dave. Lately, Chara's ghost has been appearing and doing things that don't make sense to the family. What does it mean to make that snowman? Perhaps she's asking for another place to rest? Leon and Franco have been observing her every time it happens and wonder if it's some way she wants to communicate with them. Dave also appears, but his activities are more ordinary. Although they both seem to agree that something is wrong. Lara continues to meet Sims to make friends. She doesn't yet know exactly why she has this need, but she wants to have various connections for her future, whatever that may be. Brad continues to expand his music. Now he aims to master the bass. Franco's adult birthday surprised him as he was writing his next novel. Leon, who was nearby experimenting with neon colors, put his own art aside to celebrate with his brother. Brad hadn't agreed with his husband not celebrating his birthday, so he decided to throw a gift exchange party as an excuse. At least that way Franco would receive presents not only from his family but from the neighbors as well. For the Nothings, it was very important to see most of the inhabitants of Forever Valley at that party. Witnessing the proof of what their mother started from the very beginnings flourishing was proof of her success. And they are proud to continue her legacy. One day Lara discovered something very interesting. She can turn into a doll. She had heard her parents talking about how her mother had been one before becoming human, so she went to talk to her mother to find answers. Her mother had a lot to tell her about what she had experienced, but little about what she had discovered. Leon, for his part, was worried to see his eldest daughter in that occult form. What could it mean? Moira showed her that she, too, still retained that form, though she didn't use it often. Her daughter understood why her mother hadn't experimented much with that side of herself. It must have been difficult to be trapped like that. But Lara wanted to experiment, and she was grateful that her mother was trying to overcome her aversion to help her. Lately, Brad has been thinking about his marriage and starting a family. He feels that Violet is as much his as Willa, and he thinks it would be nice to have another child. Brad's mind may be very focused on Franco, but who can blame him with such a lovely husband? One who not only cares for their daughter but also for his nephew and niece. When he explained his desire to have another child, his husband seemed just as enthusiastic about the idea as he was. Perhaps it was because she had been in doll form all day, but that night when Lara went to bed she had a strange dream. She was in a dark room and felt a presence nearby. The next day she woke up and thought it was nothing more than her imagination. And she didn't want to tell her mother because she was discovering something important. With Leon soon to become a father for the third time and Franco wanting to be one again, the brothers spoke seriously about their future. They had lived their whole lives together, but perhaps it was time to go their separate ways. Franco knew that Leon was the one to continue the legacy his mother had begun, but before moving in with his family, he reasoned that all the family members had contributed a community for the town, and he would like to contribute one more in Violet's name. They both agreed on what it could be, and a place for eternal rest in honor of the town's founder was the most fitting. Perhaps a cemetery isn't something to celebrate, but it's important to the city. And Leon, who has long known it's his responsibility to continue his mother's work, feels good following in her footsteps. Almost the entire family went to the graveyard to lay Chara and Dave's remains to rest, leaving the younger children in the care of a nanny. Leon and Franco feel that now their parents have the whole town to explore, not just the house. Franco told Brad about the conversation he'd had with his brother and the decision he wanted to make. But now that they were married, that decision had to be a joint one. He wanted to move to another house before giving Violet a brother or sister. Brad agreed that it was best for both families. So the next day they got to work and looked for the best place for their new home. Being both artistic Sims, they felt that being close to the sea would be beneficial. Listening to the waves and appreciating the smell of sea salt can be very inspiring. With one last look towards his childhood home, Franco waited sitting in the car for his husband and daughter. Although he was only minutes away from it, he felt that his life had completely changed. And that was a feeling that filled him with anticipation. Leon barely had time to miss his brother because his new child was coming into this world. Then he remembered that he had already been through that process twice and that his wife didn't like him panicking around her, so he pretended to read a book to be near her. Unfortunately, Lara hadn't learned that yet. So he had to ask her to go do something else so as not to inconvenience her mother. And it's a boy, whom they named Gale and who will be their last child, since 3 are more than enough for them. Who knows what kind of interests he will have? They will support him in whatever he wants to do, just as they will with their other children. Perhaps it was because of what she had experienced in the last few days, moving her grandparents' remains, her uncles moving out, or having a new brother. But that night Lara had another strange dream. This time the presence had approached her, and it was a strange woman with wings on her back, whose face she couldn't clearly see even though the woman was right in front of her. In the dream, they both spoke in a language Lara didn't understand, one she had never heard before. How could she speak it then? When the dream ended, the girl was left with the feeling that the woman was asking for help. Why was she having these dreams? Could it have something to do with her mother's mysterious past? Something tells her that she is the one who has to solve the mystery.
Who is the woman who appears to Lara in her dreams? Do you have any theories? Leave them in the comments. And if you like the episode, leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, bye!